Hello, and welcome to episode 3 of 3 Pints and a Clean Sheet. And we're back to 3 Pints this week. Hello, Greg. How was your holiday?
Yeah, it was great, thanks.
Good stuff, good stuff. So, this week we are going to talk about the World Cup again as it's kicked off. Going to talk about some results and what's been going on, as it's been quite a controversial start, I would say. Going to have a look at the Ronaldo interview briefly with some current news about Ronaldo coming out tonight, but we'll save it for that segment. And then we're going to look at a section on the best players that we've seen currently, who are still currently playing, and some who've retired. So we'll look at the top three. But we shall go on to that. Oh, along with the predictions. But first of all, let's talk about the World Cup so far. What we thinking then, boys? Greg, do I go first? What do you think?
Yeah, let Greg go first.
I mean, it's been a bit of a shambles, hasn't it? The football's been kind of overshadowed, as we'd expect it might be, by things to do with the fans, things to do with the atmosphere at fans, Qatar thinking they can do whatever they want apart from play football, apparently. But the football at times has been all right. VAR's been a mess as ever. But yeah, it's been all right. Despite...
Kyle?
Sorry, continue.
No, it's fine. Crack on.
Well, I had 1 point, and it was this added time debacle.
Yeah, bastard, I've got that written down.
Sorry, but I just kept my
No,
head
it's
down.
fine. Well,
Yeah,
actually, I looked into it. You go first and I'll do my spiel.
No, it was what game was it this morning? Fuck. Denmark. They were saying over all the games, there's enough to play an extra game with all the added time.
Well, I was looking into it, and apparently, you might have to help me with the pronunciation here. The old referee, he was on one of the FIFA covers. Is it Pierluigi Collina? Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, he's
apparently,
the referees now.
Right, well, apparently this is like an initiative, and I wrote down the quote actually, more effort to accurately make up for time wasting. So basically, they're trying to be more like realistic with what they're adding on as to what's been missed, because there was some stats I've got. I'm taking over from Kyle this week. And in the Premier League last season, on average, the ball was only in play for 55 minutes out of the 90. So, but you saw that, what was the England game? It was something like mental, like 49 extra minutes.
That was because that guy got a right bloody whack.
Yeah, true. But let's be honest, if that was any other league, normally that'd be an extra 5 minutes. That would have been it.
I mean, I think that's just the key point about it. Like, they must be doing something. I don't think it is just the referee saying to the fourth official, I want 14 minutes added, because that doesn't make any sense. You know, the referees aren't new. They've been doing this for years and just adding on 4 or 5 minutes as they see fit. So FIFA must have someone somewhere, whether it's the fourth official, a VAR, someone who's a standby VAR doing he-haw else. They must be checking the time somehow.
What was that, Kyle?
Saying watching Emmerdale in the VAR room.
Yeah.
They might as well be. I prefer Coronation Street personally.
Yeah, that's something that's also a bit weird. Like, they now have 7 people doing VAR, and some of them are in the stadium, and some of them are in FIFA's control room. And the ones in the stadium don't get used unless the link to the control room goes down. So why the hell are they not just using the people in the stadium anyway? It all seems a bit stupid.
Well, speaking of this, I have written down, for obviously, if you haven't been living under a rock, you'll know that the opening game was Qatar 0, Ecuador 2. But it was shrouded with some offside controversy. Now we're going to go over to our own VAR. Greg, what do you think about the offside? Because there's been a lot of mixed opinions, people having different interpretations on the rules, I would say, on Twitter anyway. What do you think?
I mean, I think the worst interpretation of the rules I've seen was from Kevin Kyle, who I still can't...
Oh, and I saw that. That was horrendous.
I've never seen it.
Kevin Kyle clearly didn't understand the rules and drew the offside line around the goalkeeper, which definitely isn't correct.
Did you watch him play? Did you watch him play?
That is true. He is also from Stranraer, so it is understandable. Ouch.
You thought the referee was absolutely class.
Did he? He was the only one. Actually, no, he wasn't. The referee
I'm
was
only
fine
joking.
this offside, and that wasn't his fault. Like,
That's
it's
the-
one of those that if you don't have VAR, it's a goal. And it comes down to a really fine interpretation of the rules. Like, personally, the first time I watched it, and when I've watched it back, because any replays of the offside haven't been helpful because they've been from really high up, I thought the keeper dropped it. And if the keeper dropped it, it's a goal because he's made a play for the ball. If the player has headed it and the keeper hasn't touched it, then it's offside because it hits the player who's offside. It should be a straightforward decision, but it's one of those that seems to have took ages and just kind of looks wrong.
Yeah. It's. I mean, to be honest, if you're a neutral, it's very entertaining to start, isn't it? So I don't know. I think I've read somewhere there's a bit more controversy in it with it, an offside. I can't remember which game I wrote it down for. We'll come to
Well,
that. Anyway,
I noticed they used the new offside thingy for it. I don't know what it's called, but the new offside VAR thing.
Semi-automatic one, so it has a sensor at the ball that detects when you touch it. So that way, there's none of this trying to find the frame when it's touched. The ball they know when the ball's been touched, and they're just able to then draw the lines and decide if they're offside or not. And that you can tell that that's been used by the 3D animations. But it's a bit. Again, it's a bit weird. I completely disagree with how VAR's been used for offside. I've disagreed from the start. I think it's just a bit rubbish, and they should maybe think about taking a leaf out of some other sports. But this seems
he's been waiting to get the rugby in. He's been waiting. I know it's a football podcast, but he's been waiting to get the rugby in.
Well, it's not just the rugby. It's not just the rugby. The NFL use pretty much the exact same system, where there is a call made on the field, and then the video referee or the TMO in rugby has to look for evidence to overturn that decision. Now, I don't see why that can't be applied to offside. So if the linesman puts his flag up and then you look at the image and it's too close to make a decision, no drawing lines or stuff, if it's too close to make a decision based on the picture in front of you, you stick with what the linesman's made. I don't see a problem with that, because otherwise you get half of his shoulders offside, or as earlier with Argentina, part of the sleeve is offside, but the other part of the sleeve's offside. But because handball starts at the bottom of the sleeve, that's where you can no longer be offside from. So it just looks completely stupid.
Yeah, fair enough, to be honest. It's one of these things that we could probably sit and talk about this all night. It's just, I think it needs addressed. Speaking about NFL, you said, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Spotify seems to think that we are an American football podcast, but because of the tag on our page, but I can assure you it is soccer. So, I wrote a few things down for that game. So I wrote, obviously, offside controversy. I wrote that Qatar had no shots on target. This is like all according to the app that I was using, so if I'm wrong, you can correct me. And there was 15 fouls between both teams. Qatar had 4 yellow cards as opposed to Ecuador's 2. Noticed quite a trend of yellow cards and fouls in this competition so far.
Yeah, I think that's made more obvious compared to the Euros last year. So last year at the Euros, the referees were told, kind of like in the Premier League just now, to try and hold back on yellow cards. UEFA seems to be very keen on that, whereas FIFA seems to A, not care, and B, encourage yellow cards. And there's been a flurry of them.
Card happy.
Card happy is a good way to put it. Right, let's move on. Monday started with England versus Iran. We obviously all know how that went. 6-2 England. Some of the things I wrote down. I said I watched. This is the one of the games I actually watched most of. You can't deny that they were great on the attack, but conceding 2 against Iran. One was a penalty, to be fair, but maybe great attack, dodgy defence. What do you think, Kyle? I'll let you do this one.
Well, Maguire looked quite good. I was impressed with him.
Yeah, I was as well. Compared to what he's been like for Man United.
Who else was in defence? Stones, was it?
Yes, Pickford in net. Because I expected Ramsdale.
Pickford is No, Pickford's drawn. Don't have. I'm not. No. But yeah,
Fair
good
enough.
attack. Good attack. Bad defense. Yeah.
First goal for Bellingham as well, which is some feat for a 19-year-old. First goal being at a World Cup. And I also wrote down that England had 69% possession, so I mean, I don't think the result was ever in doubt.
I mean, no. I think the real question is Iran or are Iran worse than Qatar or not? Because they're both particularly dreadful.
Good job they're not in the same group.
I mean, I'm not sure they can be. I'm pretty sure they both hate each other, but you know.
Yeah, sounds about right. Right, let's move on. Senegal 0, the Netherlands 2. I wrote down the Dutch scored in the 90th +9, and then I also wrote before I'd done the bit about I'd found out about that initiative. I wrote down extreme added time because it seems to be a common trend. And then obviously Greg can talk more about this, but it was USA 1, Wales 1 with a late equaliser from the penalty spot from Mr. Gareth Bale. What you think? What you saying? What's the fettle in Cardiff?
I mean, I think, you know, being the adopted Welsh boy, they seem to be fairly happy with the second half, and there seems to be a general acknowledgement that the first half just wasn't good enough. And if Wales play like that against Iran, never mind England, they're not going to do very well. The first half, they looked kind of, the passes just weren't going to anyone. Second half, they brought on Kiefer Moore. They finally got a target. They got an out ball. He does so much running in the channels. And he is a crucial part of Wales's game. Penalty was a clear penalty. I've seen some USA fans on Twitter seem to claim it isn't. I would imagine they should probably listen to a different podcast focused on a different sport if they think that's not a penalty, because they are completely wrong. And Wales had the better chances second half and were the team that looked most likely to go on and win it. They should beat Iran. And in the controversial opinion, that means now any Welsh people should probably think about cheating on England against the USA, because whoever goes through is probably going to be down to whoever loses to England by the least, unless Wales can somehow get a result against them.
Yeah, fair. I hope so. I hope they do. Hope they do well. I wrote down Bale to the rescue ? Will he carry them? Is he either? You say when Kiefer Moore came on made a bit of a difference. Do you think Bale is just the hope? Like you kind of look at Argentina and see, just think of Messi. I know Argentina have got a very good squad, or Mascherano if you listen to episode 1. Oh no, that was episode 2, wasn't it?
No, it was 1.
Oh, I don't know. Listen to them both. It would be much appreciated. Get the listens up. Right.
It was number 1.
Ah, that's fine. Good you get your stats. Right, Tuesday. Today. Shock result so far. I reckon this will be the biggest shock of the tournament. I saw a headline, possible biggest shock in World Cup history. Argentina 1, Saudi Arabia 2.
I mean,
go for it.
Saying it's the biggest shock in World Cup history is nonsense, but carry on.
It's up there.
That's what the outlet said. I didn't say I agreed with it.
It is up there.
Nah, it's not the most, but it's definitely one of.
Oh, I mean, it's definitely not the most. You look at, for example, 2002, when Senegal in the first game of the 2002 World Cup, or in one of the first games of the 2002 World Cup, Senegal beat the holders France 1-0. That's a much bigger result. Because, Saudi Arabia, they've got there on merit, I suppose everyone has, but yes, Argentina are the favourites, but it's not as big a shock as that was.
What about the 50s, USA beating England?
I mean, I don't really have much to say because I don't know, not born, but I'm joking.
I think that's one of the bigger ones.
You're true, you're right. So I wrote short result. I see Martinez missed a penalty. 2 second half goals for Saudi Arabia. What do you think that halftime chat was in the Argentinian even dressing room? I see there were 6 yellow cards for Saudi Arabia, and apparently there was another controversial offside, and I wrote down, is it ruining the game? All these
yes.
offsides? No. Oh, split decision there.
I don't know. I thought Greg was going to say yes. I just wanted to agree.
I mean, nah, I've said I don't agree with how they do it, but I don't think it's ruining the game. I mean, the way they do it is offside or it isn't. And you look at the way that Saudi Arabia defended, and if you're another team in that group, you know that a high line will cause Argentina problems. Because they were offside, and Saudi Arabia defended, much better in the second half, and then the winning goal was absolutely outstanding. But their manager is an absolute hero.
Seen something this morning. He used to manage Cambridge.
Yeah, I saw that as well.
He also led Zambia to the African Cup of Nations.
He managed Zambia, Samina. Hey, sorry.
Herv Ranard. Sorry.
Yeah, I think that pretty much covers all bases of that one. And then another, a bit more, I don't know, not as exciting. 2-0 nils. We'll go for the first 0-0, which was Denmark versus Tunisia. I wrote down that Denmark had 60% possession with 5 shots on target, and there was 8 minutes added on. A bit of a continuous theme.
I watched that one. That was a good game.
I never watched it. The only game I've watched, I'm not going to lie, was the England game because I was in the house. I've been busy the rest of the time.
Tunisia looked quite good.
Yeah, I decided that after the first 0-0 of Denmark versus Tunisia, which I half watched at my desk, I decided that Mexico-Poland was probably not worth it.
And you were right.
Good to know.
Well, then that was followed on to Mexico 0-0 Poland, as you said. Lewandowski missing a penalty. Oh, Lewandowski, not so much. I'm gonna have to ask you again. I always forget. How do you pronounce that keeper's name?
Ochoa.
Ochoa.
Yeah.
I've wrote down. I keep saying it, I've wrote down. I've noted down with a pen and paper. Does he only exist at the World Cup?
He's a myth at club level.
Yeah, I just don't think he plays club level. He just trains for 3 years until the next. Well, no, it's for 4, but 3 years of continuous training.
What's it called? He cryogenically freeze him, then wake him up every 4 years.
Yeah, I mean he's what 30? He must be in his mid-30s.
37.
He'll definitely still be playing at 50.
They could sub him on for penalties at the World Cup in 2026. It'll be at home for him.
The Masters League.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2026.
Bring that back, by the way. I saw they did it, but it wasn't as good. Bring back the original Masters football.
Michael Moles.
Oh, don't. Teasing me. And then I have to say, looking at that group after, well, I've wrote game week 1, but it's not game week. It's after the first round of games. Never expected to see Saudi Arabia sit on top of the group there.
I mean, no, I read something to say they were the least fancied side out of anyone who did predictions. They were consistently predicted to be bottom of the group, and 3 points in any fixture gives you a great chance of going through. Never mind against Argentina.
Definitely. And then today's last game is France versus Australia, which is currently ongoing. Has anyone got the score up? Because I've lost the window that I had open.
I think it's 2-1 still.
Yeah, it's still 2-1. Australia taking a lead in the 9th minute, to then a French equaliser in the 27th, and then Mr. Olivier Giroud stepping up in the 32nd minute. So, I mean, overall, it's been quite entertaining. Bit of the 0-0s today were a bit boring, but I think the 2-1 shock defeat for Argentina makes up for it. Aye. We'll have plenty more World Cup games to talk about in the upcoming weeks.
I would say the best news from the Argentina shock defeat is that if they qualify second from that group, they are quite likely to meet England in a potential quarter-final now.
That'd be good.
Good.
Did I write down? I see that Martinez missed a penalty in that game as well, which just kind of rubs salt in the wound.
Did he? I must have completely missed that.
According to my stat app thing, I'm using live score, not going to lie, name drop, but yeah, it says that he missed a penalty.
Because Messi scored.
Oh no, it wasn't a penalty. Sorry, it was VAR ruled off.
Yeah, they ruled out 3 Argentinian goals in the first half.
They really need to differentiate between that and the penalty miss symbol because it's pretty much the same. Apologies.
Just another point, actually, just before we move on. This is Saudi Arabia's second ever win. Hey. No, what? Wait, no, sorry, take that back. I misread it.
You have been downgraded from Statman.
No, it's this headline. It makes any sense.
Clickbait.
Oh no, sorry.
Right.
No, I've lied. It is their second ever win
Well, how did they qualify?
in the World Cup. Second ever World Cup win.
Oh, you need to specify, pal.
Shop.
Right. Right, let's move on. Controversial still going on this evening. Ronaldo has left Manchester United following his interview with Piers Morgan. There was apparently meant to be Ronaldo's version of the, in brackets, truth. And Piers Morgan claims, and I saw in an article, he claims that Ronaldo asked him to do the interview as opposed to him asking Ronaldo. So I believe, Kyle, you've done a wee bit of research into this,
Right.
into the interview.
I'll try my best.
Proceed.
Excuse me. First thing he said was if he was betrayed by Man United.
Ooh.
I don't know how,
Ooh.
but if he was betrayed. If you sort of butt in just before I keep going.
No, go for it. We'll have this chat at the end. Just go for it.
He says young players have far too much money and not enough hunger. That's quite wrong, but you know, he doesn't feel respected by Ten Hag, so he doesn't respect him. So wrong. He's called Man United very, very mediocre.
Ooh.
He's not wrong.
Oh yeah, there's no progress since Alex Ferguson left. That is wrong, I think, because they won the Europa League and such.
I would suggest progress has been backwards, to be brutally honest.
It kind of spiked for a bit, then plummeted.
No, there's nowhere near the level he was at when he was there.
No.
You can't compare that. Just gonna button. I saw something. Have you got anything about the facilities chat he was going on about?
I don't think so.
Apparently, he was saying like the facilities haven't changed since he left the first time. So that was quite interesting.
Might come under progress, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, apparently, the facilities are pretty much the same, is what he said. Right, sorry. Proceed.
He's took shots at legends such as Gary Neville and Wayne Rooney. I don't know what he said, but he claimed he was better looking than Wayne Rooney.
I hope it's that Wayne Rooney's a granny shagger, because that would be possibly the best insult to ever come out of a professional footballer's mouth. And it's true.
Unfortunately for you, Greg, I don't think it was.
Might have been. I never actually read into it.
That is a shame, though. I would like to say that in comparison to Ronaldo, at least when Wayne Rooney shagged the granny, he actually got the granny's consent. So, you know.
I was waiting for that one.
However, on the flip side, he allegedly claims that the club didn't believe him when his 3-year-old daughter was in the hospital and tried to get him in trouble for not going to training pre-season. So he's got a claim that they've been horrible to him. So he's been horrible back.
So it kind of sounds like a bit of tit for tat.
I mean, it's not something you'd lie about, but
No, it's not.
I don't know. I've never asked him. I'm not Piers Morgan.
Thank God.
But this seemed to all stem from when he didn't come on as a sub v Spurs. And then he stormed off in the tunnel.
Yeah, I did see that. I don't know. My point was he obviously, as I said tonight, he's gone. His contract has been terminated. After how well his first spell at Man United went, it's kind of a sore patch now, isn't it? It's just one of these things. I don't know. I think the club are probably right to terminate his contract. To be honest, nobody's bigger than the club. I think he overstayed his welcome. I think they were right to get rid of him.
Obviously, this is, if you take away when he's been released, pretend that's not happened, would you keep him, or would you say, away you go?
Nah, cheerio. See you later.
But you can't
player. No, some would say see you the now then. Nah, gone. Bye. In my books.
I mean, I'm the same. I'd be like, away, mate. You're an arsehole.
I mean, I think if this is any job other than professional footballer, you're getting sacked. So I don't think he should be any different.
Very good point, Greg.
I was
Has
all
he ruined his legacy?
At Man United, yep.
I think he's still got a wee bit because of what he done in his first spell. Not a lot, but he's got a wee bit left to cling on to.
Let's be honest here. I'm not going too much into it. It's not what we're talking about. But I think certain events in Ronaldo's life have overshadowed his legacy due to his own behaviour and his own actions. Not, you know what I mean? That's not saying this is footballing, but
Being banned from America.
yeah, I was going to say he's definitely not going to America for his next club.
Well, that's to my next point. Does he retire?
I think he'll go to Sporting Lisbon. I think he'll finish off.
I think it depends how the World Cup goes.
I was
Good
thinking
point, actually.
when I was just kind of doing my thing earlier. I think after the World Cup he might retire.
Well, the thing is, right, this is the thing with the World Cup being at this time of year. Usually, if the World Cup's in the summer, there's maybe not at the highest levels, but there are some free agents. The one I'm thinking of is Hal Robson-Kanu at Euro 2016. When there is a tournament in the summer and you're a free agent, it gives you the drive to play because anything you do will have clubs looking. Ronaldo doesn't need that. Ronaldo can quite happily, if he cares about Portugal, which it looks like he does, try and lead the team to great things. If, say they win the World Cup, probably quite unlikely, but if they win the World Cup, leave. There you go. There's your legacy, rebuilt again.
I mind
Yeah.
the final, he was pretty much like a manager, the way he was behaving.
Aye, because he went off injured, didn't he? He was great.
Somebody kicked him and then he started coaching them pretty much. So he does care.
Aye, but anyone would care in a European final. No, not just because Ronaldo doesn't make him special in my eyes.
The way he went on.
Yeah, I don't know.
I
just think
don't think he ever should have came back. Really, to be
no.
brutally
honest. It was a panic buy because City were going for him.
I'm not even sure if City were going for him. If you want Manchester United to buy your player and you're an agent, the best line that you can deliver Manchester United to get them to spend a ton of money is Man City are interested in this guy.
Good point.
Well, apparently, it was Alex Ferguson that talked him into going back to United rather than going to City. He said that in his interview.
Can I just add something in quickly while we're on the discussion of Man United? Just got a wee notification there that apparently, according to Sky News, that is it Glazers or Glazers? How do you pronounce it? The Man United owners.
Glazer, like a donut.
They are looking to sell the club, which is interesting in this turn of events after Man United have responded by terminating Ronaldo. So it's very tough times for Man United fans.
Well, I spelled this on my notes. I spelled it wrong, but I've noted that Chelsea are after Ronaldo. Is that a good move or?
No,
I don't think anyone in the Prem should touch him with a barge pole.
Obviously, as I said, you can't deny he's a good player, but he's got some real baggage.
Yeah, and I don't think he's a good human being.
I don't think he's the player. Well, I think we all know he's not the player he was. He can be if he wants to.
He was good last season.
I'm not sure if he's got it in him, really. But again, I've never really been a Ronaldo fan.
Nah, real neutrals. Let's be honest. We don't support Man United.
I actively root against them.
Yeah, well, you do anyway. Right, we're neutrals, but I feel like I don't know. I feel like it's always been the Messi Ronaldo debate, but I just think Ronaldo is shrouded. Is that the right word? Obviously he's got his legacy playing football. The way he was in the first spell, all his Champions League wins. You can't deny he was a good player. I just feel like it's going too far now.
On the Messi Ronaldo stuff, I've always said that Messi's the complete player, but Ronaldo's the better goal scorer.
I don't think it was ever. I genuinely can't see the argument why people would say Ronaldo's a better football player. I don't see it.
He's just a better
But he
goal
can
scorer.
jump higher. He can jump higher.
Wow.
That's what I know. I know. I'm joking. I'm just saying like that's what everyone says.
I'm sure I can jump higher than Lionel Messi, given the fact that I'm 6'4". That doesn't mean I'm a better football player.
I've seen you play football.
I'm definitely not better than Lionel Messi.
Maybe Ronaldo.
Right. Well, that's interesting.
I've got some stats on Ronaldo.
Go on. Go on.
This is like how they perform with him without Ronaldo. So this is with Ronaldo. 46 games they play. 24 wins, 14 defeats. So 52% win percentage. It's not bad. But without Ronaldo, it's 41.6. So clearly they do need him.
Do they need him? Or did the money they spent on getting Ronaldo back impede the progress of the team that Solskjaer had, which had actually started the season really well until he showed up? They smashed Leeds. And did he just paper over cracks of what they really needed? You know, yeah, he's a good player. He'll come on and score a goal, but was he the solution to the problem? I don't think so.
The issue was he didn't come on. Spurs.
I mean, yeah. I would
Crimea
have
River. Crimea River. I'm sorry. There's a lot of players on that bench that would never have got on, but because he's Ronaldo, he automatically earns the right. No, I'm sorry.
However, interestingly here, without Ronaldo, they average more goals. No, sorry, they average the same goals per game. So maybe they don't need him.
Yeah, that's confusing. Like that, you can't explain that.
But then who's their striker? Rashford, Pish, Martial, inconsistent, Alanga.
Transfer window coming up though.
Yeah, but we had this problem in the summer that there isn't enough number 9s going about. Like, if you want a traditional number 9, the two number 9s that were going in the summer, one went to Liverpool, and has took his time to adjust, but seems to be getting there now. And even then, actually isn't really playing as a typical number 9. And the other one plays at Man City and is going to be the best player in the world, and I have no doubts about that. There's not really any other available 9s.
They could just buy somebody like Mitrovic. He would probably do bits.
But that's, people who say Manchester United are still a great club, you can't be going by Mitrovic.
Remember they bought Berbatov for Tottenham back in the day. That was a bit of a queer one. Is that just me?
True. No, I think Berbatov is a bit more established.
But Spurs were a bit like they're not the Spurs they were today. They were like 8th place.
I suppose. Yeah. To be fair, I think we could have a bigger discussion on this, but I think we've got our points across pretty well. So, we move on to
We stand.
This week's segment, which is a new segment, sorry, is what I would say. Top 3 players that we've seen. So 3 current players and 3 retired players. So it could be someone we've seen on our travels, and I doubt any of them have seen Palmerston anyway, but let's go for it, Kill. Well, you can mention that. You can go first.
So this is retired first, yeah?
Yeah, we'll go retired first.
Well, my first is in no particular order. But the first one is Ashley Cole.
Interesting choice.
When I seen him, he wasn't quite as good as he was in his heyday, but...
What match did you see him in?
Well, these are all from the same match.
Oh, right, okay.
So the next one is Frank Lampard. Obviously, very high up in the Team of the Year rankings all the time. Sure, give me 3rd for Ballon d'Or. All-time Chelsea top goal scorer from midfield.
Can't argue with that. Good
Now
point.
a shit manager.
Yeah, that's not. We're not talking about the best managers we've seen. Or
that's next week.
Right, good shout. Maybe if we think this is a good segment, give us a shout and we shall continue. But yeah, keep going. Right. So Cole and Lampard.
And this one is probably the biggest talent of the lot. Samuel Eto'o.
Oh yeah.
The big
Back-to-back
man.
treble winner. Probably had the best predictions as well for the World
Chelsea
Cup. Newcastle-Chelsea 2013. 2-0 to Newcastle. Gouffran and Remy scored.
Wow. I mean, you've just listed 3 absolutely great players, and they were beaten 2-0 with goals scored by Johan Gouffran, who could possibly be in the top 3 worst players I've ever seen, and Lloyd Remy, who turned up once a season.
Did go to Chelsea later on in his career.
He played at QPR as well, didn't he?
Yeah,
Did I imagine that?
did not go there because he was meant to go to Newcastle, but Newcastle made a right arse out.
That sounds
Sounds about right.
like Mike Ashley.
Well,
Yeah, it was
that's pretty
good
good,
game.
right? So they're obviously all retired. Right.
I'm sure that
You want me to go
they're
next?
all-
Right. Mine are a wee bit. I'll explain as we go. Right. So first one is from when I went and seen. I also saw Newcastle. It was at St James's Park, and it was Newcastle versus Manchester City in 2012. Manchester City won 2-0. It was a Toure double in like the last 20 minutes, and they went on to win the league that year. But I'm not picking Toure. I actually did write down Toure, but I changed my mind because I saw Sergio Aguero that game. And although he didn't score, you can't argue with his stats. He scored 184 Prem goals, 282 career goals, runner-up in the World Cup. He won the Copa America, the Europa League, UEFA Super Cup. He won the Prem 5 times. He won the FA Cup. He won the EFL Cup 6 times, and he won the Community Shield 3 times.
Was he not also the highest scoring foreigner?
Yeah, in the Prem, I believe. Yeah.
I'm not sure about that.
Maybe South American. There was something who was the highest scoring.
We can fact check that for next week. Right. So, I mean, pretty impressive start, I would say.
Well, fact check it now. He's 5th. He's the top scoring foreigner. Alan Shearer's still top.
Shearer.
Anyway,
Right.
number 2.
Number 2, right. So the next 2 come from the same game, and it's a wee bit different. So I'm going to go for it. It was a match at Ibrox that I watched. It was a Legends match between Rangers Legends and AC Milan Legends. And the player that I've picked is Franco Baresi. And it's kind of mental to say that I've seen him, because he only played for AC Milan, but he made 532 appearances. He won the Serie A 6 times and the Serie B 2 times. He won the Supercoppa Italia 4 times. So for the it was the European Cup / Champions League that when I looked at the stats. So I think it could have been a mix between the two, because obviously the competition changed. But they won that 3 times. Won the European Super Cup twice, the Intercontinental Cup twice. He won the World Cup, and he featured in. He had loads of accolades, but he featured in the FIFA World Cup All-Star team, and he was the AC Milan Player of the Century in 1999.
Just a quick one. How did he win the Serie B at AC Milan?
I don't know. That's what it was on the stats, which I was confused by. But did they not get relegated a few times?
I don't think so. I don't know.
They played 15.
Yeah.
I just wrote down what I read. Let me double check.
That's one for the older listeners out there, if there's any older people.
Yeah. He was the captain of the team that played the Rangers Legends.
Did he not play?
Go for it, what?
Did he not play when Maldini was just coming through, or have I made that up? He did play with Maldini, but I don't know if it was at the end of, like, as a swap over or what.
I know. Milan were relegated at some point because of match fixing, and I don't know if they then got relegated either twice.
Yeah, well, according to this, they won the Serie B in 1980-81 in that season, and then the 82-83 season.
Right. Well, the first one was definitely the match fixing one. I'm not entirely sure about the second one.
Probably of a similar nature. So that was pretty cool to see him play. And Rangers won that game, by the way. Alan McCoist's header 1-0. And then also in that game, and I've also seen Brian Laudrup play in a Legends game. It was Rangers Legends versus Man United Legends as well. It was Brian Laudrup, now often referred to as one of the best players to ever play in Scotland. He played 342 times. He won the Danish First Division twice. He won the DFL Super Cup, I believe, at Bayern Munich once. He won the Serie A. He won the Champions League. He won the SPL 3 times at Rangers. He won the Scottish Cup. Won the Scottish League Cup. He won the UEFA Super Cup. He won a European Championship. He won the Confederations Cup. He's in the Glasgow Rangers Hall of Fame, and he was nominated for the Ballon d'Or several times, but didn't win it. So
His brother's Michael Laudrup.
yes, my friend Brian.
I'm Brian.
I'm Brian.
He was the manager.
So
of
yeah,
Swansea. Was it Brian or Mikey?
Mikey.
Michael.
I can't believe we just called him Mikey.
Oh, if he ever hears this, I do apologise, Mikey Laudrup.
Maybe he likes Mikey.
Maybe
I might tweet him. I think he's got Twitter.
Stafford.
Speaking of Twitter, please follow our page. We've got like 7 followers. Get that up.
And Insta, just while we're at it.
Yeah, and Insta. And if there's any other socials you think we should have, please fire away.
Are we investing in Twitter Blue? If anyone wants to sponsor us, live score, we've mentioned you once already. If you want to sponsor us, we'll invest your money in Twitter Blue.
Or if a beer wants to just give us free cans as a sponsorship.
Oh, please. Please, someone.
Anything.
Well, Budweiser have got a lot sitting. Budweiser have got spare.
I'll even take
I might tweet them.
Heineken Blue.
No, screw that. Budweiser have got plenty sitting that they can take to Qatar. So I saw a photo of the warehouse. It's pretty mental.
Anyway, to
Right.
kind of get back on topic,
Sorry, I heard beer and got distracted.
we it's a lot harder for me to kind of distinguish between the ones that seen live that are still playing and the ones that I've seen live that retired, because I had the privilege of seeing that Barcelona team in 2009 before they won the Champions League under Guardiola. So, you could pretty much pick anyone from that team. You could pick, Iniesta, who scored that day, Xavi, Messi, who missed a penalty that day. That
Sergio
also
Busquets.
Leto, Sergi Busquets, Thierry Henry. We'll maybe shy away from Bojan, but he played as well. And yeah, I think it's really hard to distinguish. There's far too many people there to mention,
Yeah, that's fair. Like, there's some feat to say that you saw them. That's some team, isn't it? Did you say they won the Champions League that year?
Yeah, that's the first year they won the Champions League under Guardiola.
Yeah, that's pretty mental.
In his first season as well.
Yeah.
Crazy when you think about maybe the demise where they're sitting now. I mean, not so much. You know what I mean? They're nowhere near that level now.
In the Europa League now, struggling.
Yeah. Right, let's move on. Current players who haven't retired yet. Kyle, do you want to kick us off?
Did Greg do his retired ones? Yeah. Was that what he was doing there?
Yeah.
I thought he was just listing players.
I think so.
Yeah, no, that is both kind of some of the retired and Messi, Iniesta, a couple of them are still playing. So I think that covers both in terms of the ones who are still playing. Seen Kevin De Bruyne this year at Cardiff for Wales versus Belgium, and he is absolutely magical to watch him both with and without the ball.
That's pretty impressive. Is that it? Or you got more?
No, that was it.
Did you not see Neymar?
Shit.
There you go. I'll answer your questions for you. You seen him in the Olympics, did you not?
I did see Neymar in the Olympics of Brazil versus New Zealand. And what's worse is he doesn't even make that list.
Well, at least I remembered someone.
Debatable. He's a good player.
It was also style when he was getting.
Was it not pretty much at his peak at 2012?
Yeah, but I'm not the world's biggest Neymar fan. I've now shut Neymar and Ronaldo fans out of my fan club. What a shame.
He did come 10th in the Ballon d'Or when he played in Brazil, so that's quite impressive.
If you are a Neymar or Ronaldo fan who happens to be listening to this and want to give me abuse, please do it on Twitter and I will block you.
But follow us first.
Do it on the same group.
Yeah. Right.
Current players, I think that's what we're on.
Yeah.
Unless you've got anything else to add about Neymar or Ronaldo. Or...
No.
No. I've had enough of Ronaldo tonight.
Show Amiobi is the other one on that list. Obviously, amazing striker. Move on.
Fun fact: scored at the Nou Camp, didn't he?
He did.
Which kind of all you should say for about a year straight.
Yeah, fantastic guy. Anyway,
Yeah,
okay.
Where
my
were
current players, I believe.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Are you waiting?
going?
Yeah, sorry, I thought you were going to say something. Well, we'll start with arguably the worst. Say worst. Is Marek Hamsik,
Mm.
an underrated player for Napoli. Iconic for his
Is he
mohawk.
still at Napoli?
No, he's at Trabzonspor.
I was going to say I don't remember seeing him.
I wasn't going to guess Turkey high on the list of where Marek Hamsik might be now. I think I was going to guess China and don't know why.
He went to China, to that damn professional. Then he went to Sweden for 6 games. Then Trabzonspor.
Weird.
Interesting.
Just getting paid before he retires in
Yep.
it. From the same game, Andy Robertson. Obviously, Champions League winner. Scotland captain.
Premier League winner.
Premier League winner, FA Cup, Carabao Cups, Community Shields. Hull City,
Yeah.
Dundee United, Queen's Park. What a rise.
Exactly. It's good to get wee Scotsman
Because
in
he's
there
good.
as well. Because he's good. I
Obviously,
did that's a wee reference as well. No, I was going to explain what happened. We were in the pub watching. Was it the first? Well, no, it was when Real Madrid beat
2018.
Liverpool in 2018, and I said it's mental how Robertson's progressed, and then this man in the pub turns around and goes, "Because he's good." I was like, didn't debate that, pal. I was just saying.
As collectively, both our pants just filled up with shite.
Yeah, pretty much. I was ready to run out that door, but stand my ground. Right, that was good. Right, third player.
Probably the pick of the bunch. Well, he is the pick of the bunch. Is Eden Hazard.
Brilliant player.
This is when he was at Chelsea, so he was pretty much shit hot.
Was that also the same game as Samuel Eto'o, Frank Lampard, and Ashley Cole?
Yes, it was.
You get your money's worth there, big man.
I could have named a lot of the players from that game. But interestingly, James Taverner was on the bench. Didn't come on, but he was on the bench.
And you've seen him play since then?
At Palmerston Park.
Yes.
Wasn't as good as it is now.
You've seen him against FC Ufa at Ibrox as well.
Did you not see him when we went to see Dundee United as well? Or was he not playing? I couldn't tell you.
Oh, probably, maybe we're too steaming to know.
I can't remember much of that game.
Could have been the reserve team out for all I knew.
Sure, Alex Lowry played.
Yeah, I think he did. Anyway, right, I'm going for mine now. So, this season at Ibrox, I witnessed 7 goals being conceded, but I did get to witness an absolute Mo Salah masterclass, so he is first on my list. Won the Swiss League twice. He's won the Premier League, FA Cup, EFL Cup. He's won 2 Champions Leagues. Won the UEFA Super Cup. He's won the FIFA Club World Cup. He's won the Community Shield, and he's won, I wrote this down actually, the PFA Player of the Month 10 times.
Right, that's absolutely fried.
That's mental. That's nearly a whole year, 12 months worth. I know it was 10, but that's nearly a whole year's worth of Player of the Months.
All seasons worth.
Yeah, exactly. It's mental.
Yeah.
Right. So that was in obviously Rangers versus Liverpool at Ibrox this season. Second one I have wrote down David Silva when I saw obviously Newcastle versus Man City. He's won the World Cup. He's won 2 Euros, Copa del Rey twice, 4 Prems, 2 FA Cups, 5 EFL Cups. Mental stats. He's some player.
He was criminally underrated.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I thought. Because I looked at that team when I was trying to decide who I was going to put on the list, and I thought that's mental. I've seen him play.
Mm-hmm.
He never got the
And
plaudits.
then
he was mental.
If the final one isn't Bila Moshny, I'll be disappointed.
He's
well,
retired.
it's Conor Murray. No, I'm joking. But he is one of the best players I've seen. It's actually from the same game as Salah. It is Roberto Firmino. I think he's a very good player. He played well that night anyway.
Over
He's
Van
won the.
Dijk.
No, I wasn't putting him on that list.
Hmm.
Copa America. He's won the Prem. He's won the EFL Cup. He's won the Champions League twice. He's won the Super Cup. He's won the Club World Cup. He's won the Community Shield. You know what I mean, some stats.
I'm not disputing he's not a good player, but I would have picked Van Dijk just personally, or even Alisson.
168 goals. Nah, for me, no, for me. So yeah, there's my 3.
Underrated.
I was quite happy with my 3. So overall, we've seen some players like I know most were from the same games and stuff, but pretty good.
When we get older, it will probably increase quite a bit.
Oh yeah,
Because if
I
you
was.
if you ask your like your parents, would be like, "Oh, I've seen some players."
Well, my uncle went to see Rangers versus PSG away in the Champions League, and he saw Ronaldinho at PSG.
I'm sure my dad's seen Ronaldinho too. Because he's been to some games in his time.
So yeah, we can maybe revisit that once we've been to some games in the upcoming seasons. But
Or even we could ask our elders.
Yeah, we could do some research.
I'd like to say that hopefully my dad would also say that Barcelona team. Because I personally don't really know how you can beat it.
Yeah, to be fair. Right, he's still going on about this Barcelona team. He's trying to play the trump card here.
I mean, I'm still in awe of them.
Well, I've seen John Flanagan.
That team.
Listen, I've got Nacho Novo on my wall.
He was
seen
on
him
the list,
score-
actually.
I saw him score an absolute screamer in the Scottish Cup final against Falkirk.
Oh,
He
God.
just came on. Falkirk! He just came on. Chris Boyd stated it was too hot to play football. It was in the centre circle, obviously. It was booted out for a throw in. Nacho goes to take it. He puts the ball down. I believe it was Papac picked up. Just throws it in. Novo first time from the edge of the pitch over the keeper. I couldn't believe it.
I mean, Kenny Miller did it at Pabston, but 10 years later.
Yeah, he did. He did. He
Wasn't as
recreated
good.
it. No, but
Different.
to be fair, the Kenny Miller one just went up, and you're like Arsenal coming down, and then just dipped in the top bins.
We've also seen Nacho Novo at Palmerston, of course, as well.
Yes.
Oh, he played for Dundee, didn't he?
He played for Morton as well, did he not? Or have I imagined that?
Maybe it was Morton.
Who were you
Was he
thinking, Greg?
I've seen Gary O'Connor.
I was fairly sure it was Morton. Well, he did play for Dundee and Wraith, who was the other one I was fairly sure of, but he did play for Morton in 2013 in a brief return as well. Anyway, we should probably move on to the predictions.
Yes, we will. So, Greg kindly added up the scores after, even though he was on his hollybobs. So, currently, last week, sorry, Greg got 2, I got 3, and Kyle got 4. So Kyle won last week, and that means that the scores are currently 7-7-9.
To me.
Are we doing it? To Kyle? Are we doing it? Well, no. If we're doing it in match points, it's currently 2-1-0 because Kyle's won 2. Because you two drew the first week, didn't you?
Yep.
So that's 2 to Kyle, 1 to you, and none to me. But in terms of total points, it's 7-7-9 to Kyle. So well done, mate. He also put in the chat to stop the count, but that's not how it works. So this week, I picked the games because Greg picked for episode 1, Kyle picked for episode 2. So it was only fair. I've picked 10 games, obviously, with the World Cup break.
Worst games ever.
Yeah, we went away from the usual format, so I've just picked 10 games. So the first one is, do you want to read them all out, or we'll just go through them?
Just do one.
Go through them one.
I did not hear what you said there.
Go through them one by one.
Right, first game, Stranraer versus Annan Athletic. Dumfries and Galloway derby.
Yeah,
What
I'll
we
go
thinking?
first.
That is the only interesting thing I can find about that game is Dumfries and Galway derby, and I have it down as a boring draw.
I'll go second then. I've put a draw.
I'll go third. I also put a draw.
Any reason or just?
I just think it'll be quite a close game. I think they're sitting pretty close in the league, if I do remember correctly.
Sixth.
Sorry.
So yeah.
And in a good form.
We've got Tommy Goss, so anything's possible.
True.
Right, next game, Dundee versus Airdrieonians. I believe this is now in the first game was League 2, wasn't it? And now these are Scottish Cup games. So first of the Scottish Cup games, Dundee versus Airdrieonians. I'll go first. I've put a Dundee win. Just can't see them losing it.
The oldest cup competition there is. I've put a Dundee win.
That will be 3 Dundee wins.
Oh, it's close so far.
Dundee unbeaten 5.
Yeah, can't see. I mean, Airdrieonians aren't in bad form, I believe.
Yeah, but Dundee are a league above at home. So.
No, I know. Well, I've said Dundee to win, so obviously. But Rhys McCabe doing a good job there, I believe. Mental how young he is.
28,
I remember
29.
I remember watching him at Ibrox because he was like the poster boy when they brought out that top to commemorate the 1872, like the anniversary.
Former Queen's player, might we add.
Yeah. Just speaking about Queens, actually, I decided not to include them this week again.
Still getting scudded.
Yeah, well, they won 4-0. That's what I was going to say. Bounce back after a 5-1. It's just so unpredictable. But yes, right. So we're all agreed on Dundee. Easy. Right, another one here. Inverness Caledonian Thistle versus Stirling Albion.
Inverness win.
I'll go second. Inverness win.
I'm going to push the boat out and suggest it might be a draw.
There we go, a bit of difference there.
Yeah, Inverness have no wins in the last 5. You know, yes, Stirling are 2 divisions down, but they're sitting second. Not doing terribly. Inverness in a poor run of form. It's the cup, anything can happen.
I was literally just about to say that. We need to keep in mind that I know I went favourites so far, but anything could happen. Anything can happen. Anything can happen.
That's the shite singing for this week.
Right, yeah, let's move on. Montrose versus Darvel.
Could be a good game, actually.
Yeah, I think that will be a good game.
Because Darvel are doing, like, are they not quite well, like, what's the word I want?
Financial is the word you're looking for.
Financial?
Financially bankrolled by the man who makes the Kelly pies for Brownlands Bakers.
That's what I was meaning. I couldn't think of the word I wanted, but they've got some good players.
Fair play, I love Kelly pies.
And they're also top of their league.
Which is the Highland League?
No, Scotland Premier League.
Oh, sorry.
Well, speaking of that, I've actually put Darvel win. I think upsetting the cup. I think it's going to be that game.
I went Montrose.
I've also went Montrose, who have only lost at home once this season.
Queen's nearly beat them at home, but it was a 0-0 draw.
It was.
But Montrose did get scudded 4-0 by Queen's on Saturday.
I was just about to say, did they not get beat 4-0 by Queen's?
They did.
They're a different proposition at home, and they're fourth in the league. They're fourth in the league for a reason.
Fair play, mate. Fair play. I'm going Darvel just to be different. I think they could do it. Right. Partick Thistle versus Kelty Hats.
I feel this is a no-brainer.
Yeah, I think Partick.
Went for Patrick as well.
I have also went for Partick, though I'm not sure it was as much of a no-brainer. Partick's win at the weekend was their first win in 8 in all competitions, and they've now slipped to 5th in the league. But Kelty, you know, we've seen them play Queens. They're not really anything that special. But again, it's the cup, and Robert can do his singing again.
No, I'm not doing it again. It was a one and only opportunity.
What's this?
Me singing.
Oh, there we go. You've already burst me with response.
Right, get that get in again. Right. Wraith versus Auchinleck Talbot.
Wraith.
Yeah, I've also went Wraith.
Nice big Wraith win.
I have also went a Wraith win as much as I fancy. I thought about an upset again. I've kind of picked an upset already, and it's the cup.
We should be
back in the favourites.
That was my view on it as well, actually.
I think this will be the game. If there's an upset, I think it'll be that one.
I don't know. Auchinleck are below Darvel in that league, so you know I think there's a few there. There could be upsets.
Just to interrupt, according to my Twitter, it's 4-1 France.
And come dogs on as well.
This is the team I predicted to have a meltdown and not do very well. So that bodes well for this week's predictions for me.
Right. Okay. Next game is Charlton versus Stockport County. I've went Charlton. Doing well, I believe.
I second that. I've done a Charlton win.
I have thirded a Charlton win. However, that both teams have 1 win in 5, and both are 14th in their respective leagues. Just so happens that Stockport are in the league below. Stockport were one of the favourites in promotion in League 2 this year, having just came up from the National League, but I don't think they've really lived up to that hype.
I thought they were still in the National League, not going to lie.
No, I knew they went up.
Fun fact, we went to school with a boy who was a big Stockport fan.
Yeah, I've never seen a Stockport fan before, apart from him.
I thought they were just myths, but evidently not.
Who?
I won't
Not
go
a
and
name
share.
drop.
If do I get sued? Sue.
No.
Sorry, just Ronaldo daft.
I know, that's what I was going to say. Speaking right, next game. Portsmouth versus NK Dons. I've went Portsmouth as well.
What were they in? They're in the Championship, yeah.
No,
Portsmouth.
they're still in League 1.
League One, Portsmouth.
And NK Dons are the same, aren't they?
Yes, they're also in the Championship, but they have 1 win in 5, whereas Portsmouth only lost twice all year and are unbeaten in 5. So
And that's why I went Portsmouth.
I've done Portsmouth, but I thought they were different leagues.
I have also gone Portsmouth, despite the fact that 4 of their last 5 games have been draws.
Mind when they won the FA Cup? Was it 10 years ago?
Yeah, it was. Don't remind me who they beat in the final.
It was Newcastle.
No, it was Cardiff City.
That'd been an absolute rock and roll game.
That's a sort of 4-point round here.
Right, and then what was that? Right, Sheffield Wednesday versus Mansfield Town.
Yeah, this is another one where the favourites are fairly obvious favourites. Sheffield Wednesday unbeaten in 5, and the league above Mansfield. Sheffield Wednesday win.
Yes, me too. I actually did my research on this one and saw how good Sheffield were doing, so I've went Sheffield Wednesday as well.
And that'll be 3 wins for the Owls.
Have we picked all the same things apart from like one?
Pretty much.
No, different. Well, I picked Darvel and then you picked Stirling Albion.
I picked a
Just
draw
those-
for the game, but yeah.
Yeah, sorry, that's what I meant. I picked Darvel.
Mind when Mansfield beat Liverpool as well? Was it Oldham? It was one of them. Beat them. And they had like Suarez and all that playing.
Anyway.
Last game. Women's football, again, we've included another women's game. This time, not in the English Premier League, in the Scottish. We have went Rangers women versus Celtic women, which is at 5:15 on Saturday night.
Old Firm, sure.
Old Firm, yeah, it'll be a close game. Obviously, Kirsty Howitt from Dumfries playing for the mighty Rangers. I've went Rangers.
Me too, but it could be a close game because there's a point separating them, but Rangers are top of the division.
Yeah, I've also went Rangers. There is only is there not? Yeah, there is only 1 point separating them. Rangers have only conceded 1 goal in the league, and Celtic have only conceded 2 goals in the league. Both to Glasgow City. Rangers drew against Glasgow City, and Celtic lost against Glasgow City.
Oh yeah, pretty close, but I've went Rangers. So, well, that brings us to an end this week. Went over an hour there, pretty impressive. That's our longest one to date. So, as stated earlier, please give our socials a check out. If you haven't listened to episode 1 and 2, it'd be much appreciated. But I'd like to say thank you for listening. And we will catch you again next week. This will be uploaded on Friday. So
Lunchtime.
Yes, Friday lunchtime. We recorded this on Tuesday evening, so obviously the France game's still ongoing. And we will talk about the fixtures for the rest of the week in next week's episode. So thank you very much.
Evening, Northern.